Chapter 1623. As far as Lu Ming knew, there was an Azura platform in every city. Why were these young geniuses having a great battle here? Lu Ming, Darkwater City, is one of the 4 largest cities in the 100-tribe battlefield. The local experts in the city are also very strong. I'm afraid there will be someone at the peak of the Bright Sage realm, Huang Ling explained. The natives had lived in the 100-tribe battlefield since they were young, so they had adapted to the chaotic laws of the 100-tribe battlefield. Some of the more talented ones could cultivate to the Saint realm. However, the strongest could only reach the Bright Sage realm. The peak of the Bright Sage realm was the strongest in the 100-tribe battlefield. The peak of the Bright Saint realm is too strong. With my strength, I'm afraid I won't be able to fight back. That's why no one dares to make a move in Darkwater City. However, there's only one Azura stage and it's in short supply. Therefore, many Sky Prides will fight outside the city, Huang Ling continued to explain. Lu Ming nodded. It was easy to understand. Outside the city, the local experts would not care about it. Lu Ming and Huang Ling's arrival attracted many people's attention. Many people looked at them. When most people saw Huang Ling, their faces changed and they looked grave and fearful. Lu Ming thought to himself that Huang Ling was very famous in Darkwater City. She was also very powerful. The heavenly spiritual body seemed to be a terrifying existence even in the depths of the 100-tribe battlefield. Of course, many people looked at Lu Ming in surprise. ALV9 Martial Royal Realm Cultivator dares to come to Darkwater City. It's rare. Any LV9 Martial Royal Realm Cultivator who dares to come to Darkwater City has great combat strength. They are very confident in their own combat strength. This person is with Huang Ling. Is he also a powerful cultivator? That's hard to say. Those who are not strong enough will also come to see the world. Some people looked at Lu Ming and whispered among themselves. Bam! Bam! At this moment, a young man stepped on the void and landed in front of Lu Ming, emitting the aura of a peak LV9 Martial Emperor. A powerful aura directly locked onto Lu Ming. It's Huang Qi. This guy has his eyes on the 9th layer Martial Dominator. Huang Qi's combat strength is very strong. With his cultivation at the peak of the 9th level of the Martial Royal Realm, he once fought with a Stage 1 Sage-to-be expert for more than 100 moves before he was defeated. It seems that he is eager to hunt. Some people in the surroundings spoke with the mentality of watching a good show. 9th layer of the Martial Emperor realm, since you dare to come to Darkwater City, you must be very confident in your battle strength. Now, let's fight. Holy Lady Huang Ling, you won't interfere, right? Huang Qi looked at Lu Ming with battle intent. His last sentence was directed at Huang Ling as you wish. Huang Ling waved her hands casually and took a few steps back, implying that she would not interfere. However, her eyes were filled with pity as she glanced at Huang Qi. This guy dares to challenge Lu Ming. He's courting death. If he knew that Lu Ming had even slain the 10,000 celestial realm, his expression would be even more shocking. You are no match against me, Lu Ming said calmly. He was not interested in a 9th layer Martial Dominator realm cultivator, as it would not be useful for him to train himself. Lu Ming was too lazy to even attack him. That being said, he was telling the truth, but to Huang Qi's ears, it sounded like Lu Ming was being full of himself. How arrogant, I've even fought against a half-sage to be. You're quite arrogant when you're only a 9th layer Martial Dominator realm cultivator. We'll know if I'm your match after the battle. Huang Qi's eyes became cold as his aura grew stronger. At that instant, Lu Ming's eyes became cold. This was because he felt a sharp qi attack his back at a frightening speed. Without hesitation, Lu Ming turned around and lashed out a punch. Clang! Lu Ming's punch collided with a long sword that was as thin as a cicada's wings. A terrifying fist intent exploded as a figure appeared out of nowhere and was sent flying by the force. This figure was wearing a black robe. His entire body was covered by the black robe. Only a pair of eyes could be seen, and they were filled with shock. It's the assassin of the 1,000 Assassins sect. Someone yelled. Whoosh. The assassin of the 1,000 Assassins sect immediately executed his movement technique after failing to kill Lu Ming. His figure was emitting the aura of the ultimate domain. The assassin's cultivation was at the first layer half-martial sacred realm, which was similar to the two assassins that had tried to assassinate Lu Ming previously. You want to leave after failing to assassinate me? Did I allow you to do so? Lu Ming coldly spoke. Wind and lightning aura flashed around his body. With a ripping sound, Lu Ming's figure shot out like a bolt of lightning. He tore through the void and chased after the assassin with shocking speed. The assassin of the Thousand Assassins sect was extremely fast. However, Lu Ming's wind lightning steps had already been cultivated to perfection. With the help of the wind freezing pearl, his speed was even more shocking. He was far above the assassin of the Thousand Assassins sect. Many people only saw a flash of lightning and Lu Ming's figure appeared above the assassin of the Thousand Assassins sect. Then, he raised his foot and stomped down on the assassin. Lu Ming executed the hell-suppressing heavenly art. His entire body seemed to have transformed into a huge hell-suppressing stele that could suppress everything. Boom! This stomp destroyed all the attacks and defenses of the Thousand Assassins sect's assassin. Then, it heavily stomped on the assassin's head. Bang! The assassin's head and body were like a watermelon that exploded in the air. One move and he was dead. This assassin was also a genius. He had a superior earth spiritual body and was in the first stage of the half-saint realm. Although he couldn't be ranked among the top 10 monstrous geniuses in the Kang province, he was still one of the stronger ones. However, he was instantly killed by Lu Ming. After coming to the 100-tribe battlefield for a few months, Lu Ming's strength had unknowingly increased by leaps and bounds. What powerful battle strength! Many young geniuses in the surroundings narrowed their eyes and revealed looks of shock. Lu Ming's cultivation was very clear. He was in the early 9th stage of the martial king realm. However, he had killed a first-stage half-saint genius in one move. Such battle strength was shocking. Many people present were in the first stage of the half-saint realm. If they encountered Lu Ming, they would probably end up in the same situation. Some of the second-stage half-saints who had comprehended the laws had extremely serious expressions. Another heaven's spiritual body, someone said solemnly. There weren't many heaven spiritual bodies even in Darkwater City, which was the center of the 100-tribe battlefield. Each one of them was extremely powerful. Heaven spiritual bodies weren't cabbages that could be found everywhere. Some emperor-level forces that weren't very lucky might not even have a single heaven spiritual body. For example, there were no heaven spiritual bodies in the Kang province. According to Lu Ming's knowledge, there were no heaven spiritual bodies in the Cloud Emperor Mountain. At this moment, Huang Qi was completely dumbfounded. Do you still want to fight? Lu Ming looked at Huang Qi. His casual words made Huang Qi's face turn red. Chapter 1624. Back then, he had fought with a first-stage sage-to-be genius for 100 moves before he was defeated. He had always been proud of that, but now, he was nothing compared to Lu Ming. Lu Ming had killed a first-stage sage-to-be expert with a stomp. If he fought with Lu Ming, he would not even need a stomp. He would only need half a stomp. Previously, Lu Ming had said that he was not qualified to fight, and that was the truth. However, he had said that Lu Ming was arrogant. It was obvious that he was ignorant. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly. Huang Qi left with a red face. This person is very strong. No wonder he can be with Huang Ling. Birds of a feather flock together. It's normal for a heavenly spiritual body to be with a heavenly spiritual body. However, this person's cultivation is too low. It will be difficult for him to compete with other heavenly spiritual bodies. That's right. Unless his cultivation increases. Lu Ming naturally heard these words, but he only smiled faintly and did not take it to heart. Huang Ling, do you have a way to get rid of the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion? Lu Ming stepped in front of Huang Ling and asked. He had the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion on him. As long as the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins were within a certain range, they would be able to find him through the slaughter mark. He was not afraid, but it was annoying. Huang Ling shook her head and said, from what I know, the slaughter mark of the Thousand Slayer Mansion is extremely difficult to get rid of. Moreover, The more Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins are killed, the stronger the slaughter mark will be and the easier it will be for the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassins to sense it. Only a martial emperor expert can get rid of the slaughter mark. A martial emperor expert. Lu Ming shook his head bitterly. Where could he find a martial emperor expert? There was definitely none in the 100-tribe battlefield. Even if he left the 100-tribe battlefield, there was not a single martial emperor expert in the Kang state. There were martial emperors in other domains, but martial emperors were superior and looked down on the world. Why would they help Lu Ming, who was only a martial emperor? It seemed like he would have to be more careful in the future to prevent assassinations from the Thousand Slayers' manor. His main body couldn't stay in the mountain and river diagram every day. He needed to comprehend the great Tao of heaven and earth, and he needed to train and fight. His second body couldn't stay in the mountain and river diagram every day and use the Tai Chi disc array to improve his spirit flame. Lu Ming, the assassins of the Thousand Slayer Manor are feared by even other emperor-ranked forces. Normally, they wouldn't dare to kill the assassins of the Thousand Slayer Manor. At most, they'd cripple them. Because once you're infected by the slaughter mark, you'll have to face endless assassination attempts. You have to be careful in the future, Huang Ling warned. Lu Ming nodded. Following which, the two of them headed towards Darkwater City. Darkwater City was several times larger than the city Lu Ming had stayed in before. The young men walking on the street all had powerful auras. Most of them were at the half-saint realm. Soon, Huang Ling brought Lu Ming to a huge hall. At the top of the hall, the 3 words Phoenix Palace were majestic. Lu Ming, I'm from the Phoenix Palace, an emperor-ranked force. This is the temporary lodging of the Phoenix Palace in the 100-tribe battlefield, Huang Ling explained. The 100-tribe battlefield was a place where many emperor-ranked forces went to train. Therefore, many powerful emperor-ranked forces would purchase palaces in the huge cities of the 100-tribe battlefield as temporary lodgings. After all, they would be exhausted after training outside and fighting with experts. They would need a place to rest and cultivate in seclusion. Sainters. As soon as they entered the hall, 2 young men and women bowed to Huang Ling. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. It seemed that Huang Ling had a high status in the Phoenix Palace. She was the saintess. Huang Ling nodded and led Lu Ming into the depths of the Phoenix Palace. Along the way, they met no less than 20 young men and women. Among these young men and women, the men were handsome and the women were beautiful. All of them were at the half-saint realm and had superior earth spiritual bodies. Similar to the Dragon God Valley, almost everyone in the Phoenix Palace had awakened the Phoenix bloodline and cultivated the Phoenix battle body. So many geniuses. It seems that the Phoenix Palace is a terrifying existence even among the emperor-ranked forces. Along the way, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He had met so many geniuses along the way. Any one of them would be a top genius in the Zhangzhou. Some of them had unfathomable auras and were surrounded by nomological laws. They were obviously second-stage half-saints. There were even half-saints with nomological laws. In the Zhangzhou, such people could compete with the top 10 demon geniuses. This was probably just the tip of the iceberg for the Phoenix Palace. One should know that those above the Saint Realm were not allowed to enter the 100-tribe battlefield. Did the Phoenix Palace not have any geniuses above the Saint Realm? Absolutely. The Yuan continent is huge and there are too many geniuses. The Zhangzhou is just a corner of it. Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Now, his way of thinking was slowly changing. His vision was no longer limited to the Kang prefecture. The divine sons would eventually become his stepping stones. His opponents would be the peerless geniuses of the emperor-ranked forces in the Yuan continent. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. He felt his blood boiling. Lu Ming, you can stay here for the time being, Huang Ling said as they arrived at a courtyard. All right. Lu Ming nodded. During this period, I will send people to Darkwater City to look for information about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. If there are other maps of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb or the appearance of the key, it will not be hidden. Once there is news, I will inform you, Huang Ling said. It seems that I was right to work with you. It will save me a lot of trouble. Lu Ming smiled. How will you repay me? Huang Ling smiled and looked at Lu Ming flirtatiously. When such a beautiful woman said such flirtatious words, even with Lu Ming's composure, his heart skipped a beat. "Didn't I say that you and I are like dragons and phoenixes? Why don't we do it together?" Lu Ming said with a smile. "TSK, is this how you repay me? Aren't you taking advantage of me?" Huang Ling rolled her eyes at Lu Ming. She lifted her feet gently and left the place. Lu Ming laughed, pushed open the door of the courtyard and walked in. The courtyard was huge. Lu Ming walked into a random room and entered the mountain river diagram. He sat under the tree of enlightenment and pondered quietly. Darkwater City is where the geniuses of various emperor-ranked forces gather. Although there are not many geniuses like Huang Ling, there are still quite a few of them. Maybe there are geniuses who are stronger than Huang Ling. If the reincarnation emperor's tomb really opens, those who enter will be extremely powerful. My combat strength is still not enough, Lu Ming thought to himself. Now, he could suppress someone like Wn Tiancheng with the help of his main body and second body. With the help of Bubble, he could take them by surprise and kill them. However, if Lu Ming's main body was alone, he would not be a match for someone like Wn Tiancheng. He had to improve his strength as soon as possible. Now, there were two main ways for him to improve his strength. One was to improve his cultivation. When his cultivation improved, his strength would naturally skyrocket. Chapter 1625. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and cultivated wholeheartedly. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. It's too slow. Without a big battle, it's too slow to cultivate like this. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and muttered to himself. In fact, his cultivation speed was quite fast because he had comprehended the Tao under the Enlightenment ancient tree with the help of the heavenly law stone. However, it was much slower than the speed of cultivation in a fight. There are so many geniuses here. It's a good opportunity to train with someone. It's a pity to miss it. Lu Ming smiled and changed into a black robe. He walked out of the mountain and river diagram and headed out of Darkwater City. After leaving Darkwater City, he looked at the lake not far away and saw many young men standing above the lake. There were also 2 young men who were fighting fiercely. Lu Ming's palm glowed and an Azura mask appeared in his hand. He put it on his face and instantly looked more ferocious. Lu Ming had used the Azura mask when his cultivation was not high. With its material, a high-level martial royal realm expert could see through it at a glance. However, Lu Ming covered it with his true core strength so that others could not see through it. Wearing the Azura mask, Lu Ming stepped forward and walked toward the young men. His body was emitting a cold aura. Some people were alarmed and looked at Lu Ming. When they saw Lu Ming wearing the Azura mask, they were surprised. A rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator wearing a mask is deliberately mystifying and deceiving us. Someone snorted and looked at Lu Ming coldly. Boom. All of a sudden, Lu Ming made his move. He took a step forward and appeared above the person who had spoken. Then, he stepped out. A towering foot was formed. Like the foot of a god, it stomped towards the person who spoke. "You're courting death." The person shouted and his true core strength burst out. His aura soared and condensed into a battle saber that slashed toward Lu Ming. The battle saber carried the power of law. This person was a stage 2 half-saint. He had a superior earthly spiritual body. His battle prowess was astonishing. His blade was earth-shattering. Just when many people thought that Lu Ming would be killed with one strike, the result was beyond their expectations. Boom. The gigantic foot stomped down, and the saber shattered. The gigantic foot continued to stomp down. Lu Ming stomped the second stage half-saint into the lake below, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted. His fist glowed as he punched out. A terrifying fist energy seemed to have pierced through the void and blasted toward the lake below. Boom! The lake water surged up to the sky, and the waves surged. The lake water in that area was blasted away by the fist force, and the bottom of the lake was exposed. A huge crater had appeared at the bottom of the lake. The second stage semisage expert was lying in the crater. He was no longer breathing. He had been killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and sucked. His quintessential essence was like a ribbon, coiling up the other party's interspatial ring. The lake water flowed backwards, and that genius remained at the bottom of the lake forever. So powerful. Many people were shocked. Although the person wearing the Azura mask was only a 9th-stage martial royal realm cultivator, he was not pretending to be mysterious. He was an extremely terrifying existence. Which force is this genius from? Some people guessed. After all, there were too many Emperor-level forces. Every day, there would be geniuses from Emperor-level forces joining. No one knew what kind of geniuses would appear. Whoosh! Lu Ming's gaze was like lightning, and it was as cold as a knife as he scanned the surroundings. Some people could not help but feel a chill in their hearts when Lu Ming's gaze swept past them. You, fight with me. Lu Ming's gaze was fixed on a blood-robed youth. He took a step forward and punched at the youth. After being in the 100-clan battlefield for several months, Lu Ming had already gotten used to the rules here. There were no rules here, only tempering and challenges. Here, you did not need any reason to fight with anyone. Lu Ming was here to fight with experts. He did not want to waste time, so he took the initiative to attack. Don't think that you can fight with me just because you killed a piece of trash. Kill. Seeing that Lu Ming dared to attack him, the blood-robed youth immediately erupted with a terrifying killing intent. His body was covered in a bloody light as he punched out a blood-red palm print, which blasted toward Lu Ming. Boom. Boom. Lu Ming punched out 2 more times, which collided with the blood-red palm print. A terrifying fluctuation was emitted, and Lu Ming's fist force was directly dispersed. The blood-red palm print did not stop, and it carried a terrifying power of law as it blasted toward Lu Ming. Amazing, the heavenly spiritual body is indeed powerful. Lu Ming was not surprised, but delighted. He took a step forward and poured his true essence into the flowing essence gloves. He punched out and smashed the blood-red palm print, then continued to attack the blood-robed youth. This blood-robed youth was a heavenly spiritual body, a genius on the same level as Huang Ling and Wn Tiancheng. If Lu Ming wanted to fight, he would naturally choose someone who was extremely strong. Weak people were useless. Blood Demon's great palm. The blood-robed youth let out a roar as a bloody glow filled the air. His body seemed to have turned into a bloody aura as he unleashed the power of the law of blood. A giant palm print was formed and pressed down on Lu Ming, trying to smash Lu Ming into a pulp. Lu Ming's body glowed. One by one, bright spots shone and 12 sacred weapons appeared. Lu Ming grabbed the black dragon spear and poured his battle weapon chi into it. The chaotic domain covered the spear and turned it into a mountainous spear glow that stabbed into the sky. Boom! A shocking explosion took place as the spear glow and the blood-red palm print dissipated at the same time. That's the 10,000 weapon art. Here's from the Wan clan. The Wan clan has such a terrifying genius. He's so powerful at the 9th layer martial dominator realm. Some people exclaimed in disbelief. Kill the people of the Wan clan. The blood-robed youth was extremely powerful as he flew forward with a cold murderous intent. The bloody aura on his body grew thicker as if it had turned into a bloody ocean. Whoosh! A blood-red flag appeared in his hand. He waved the blood-red flag and it expanded rapidly. Together with the bloody ocean, it flew toward Lu Ming to wrap around him. Break! Lu Ming threw out the black dragon spear in his hand. It was like a black lightning bolt that pierced through the bloody ocean. At the same time, Lu Ming held a sacred weapon in his hand and stepped forward. He slashed out with his sword and a shocking sword chi appeared as if it was going to split the heavens and earth. The bloody ocean was split open, but after rolling for a while, it merged back together. The black dragon spear flew back without any effect. The bloody ocean spread out and the blood-red flag covered the sky, enveloping Lu Ming. Turn into a pool of bloody water, the blood-robed youth said coldly. The man with the Shura mask is doomed. He's going to die after being enveloped by the blood prison flag. He's going to turn into a pool of bloody water. That's right. The blood prison flag is so powerful that even geniuses of the same level as him would not dare to be enveloped by it. Although the masked man's strength is terrifying, he's only a 9th layer martial dominator realm cultivator. Another genius has fallen. Discussions broke out in all directions. Even the two youths who had been fighting at the beginning had stopped fighting. Lu Ming was enveloped by the blood prison flag, which covered the sky. He looked around and saw nothing but a sea of blood. A terrifying bloody aura was seeping toward Lu Ming, trying to refine Lu Ming into a pool of bloody water. Chapter 1626. Lu Ming was surrounded by 12 saint weapons. He held the black dragon spear in his hand and performed the 13 strikes. Whoosh! A huge spear light pierced forward, as if it wanted to pierce through the heavens and earth. However, when the spear light pierced into the sea of blood, a huge passageway was pierced through the sea of blood. However, the sea of blood churned and reformed. There was no strength at all. It felt like there was no way to use it. Whoosh! Lu Ming switched to the saint weapon battle sword and slashed out a vast sword chi, but it was still useless. It couldn't break the sea of blood. A heaven's spiritual body is indeed powerful, Lu Ming whispered. The scarlet-robed youth's combat strength was not weaker than Wn Tiancheng. If Lu Ming called out Bubbles and Ming Lian, he could naturally suppress the opponent. However, that would be meaningless. Lu Ming was here to hone himself. Boom! Boom! Immediately, Lu Ming began to launch a frenzied attack. He used the long spear, the combat sword, the combat saber, and the hell-suppressing heaven skill. All kinds of attacks were launched one after another, bombarding the vast sea of blood. The sea of blood kept rolling and shaking violently. However, the sea of blood still didn't break, but such attacks weren't useless. At least, they could stop the sea of blood from invading and resist the refining power. Outside the sea of blood, young Master Blood Prison stood above the sea of blood, his eyes cold. Humph, struggle. Even if you struggle for a while, you will still die in the end. Young Master Blood Prison said coldly. His body became more and more blurred, as if he was about to turn into a bloody light and merge into the sea of blood. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the sea of blood, the bloody light began to change, condensing into battle swords and spears, attacking Lu Ming. Good. Lu Ming was fearless. He held the spear in one hand and the sword in the other, clashing with the bloody light. In the blink of an eye, a few minutes had passed, and the battle was still going on. Great, haha, your sea of blood can't refine me at all. Lu Ming laughed, his voice passing through the sea of blood. This made young Master Blood Prison's face turn even uglier. Let's see how long you can last. Young Master Blood Hell shouted coldly. His body transformed into a mass of blood-red light and merged with the sea of blood, making the sea of blood even more powerful. In front of Lu Ming, the sea of blood roiled, and suddenly, a huge face appeared. It was none other than Prince Bloodjail's face. Kill! The face roared, and boundless blood-red light shot towards Lu Ming. The black dragon spear shook and turned into a spear light that stabbed towards the blood-red light. At the same time, the battle sword in his left hand slashed out, and a huge sword chi slashed out. Boom! Boom! This time, the power of the bloodlight was even stronger. Lu Ming's body shook greatly, and he could not help retreating repeatedly. With his main body alone, he was no match for a genius like Prince Blood Prison. Kill! At this time, Lu Ming suddenly shouted. The divine sword secret art burst out and turned into two black sword lights, piercing into the sea of blood. Ah, it's a soul attack. Amidst the blood sea, young Master Blood Prison's pained roar resounded. Whoosh, whoosh. Two sword lights shot out from Lu Ming's eyes again and pierced into the sea of blood. Prince Blood Prison screamed again in the sea of blood. The sea of blood roiled violently, and Prince Blood Prison's body recondensed in the sea of blood. His face was pale. It was not that he did not have a spiritual deity defense treasure, but when his body turned into a blood-red light and merged with the sea of blood, it meant that his soul was also scattered. Naturally, the spiritual deity defense treasure lost its effect, and Lu Ming had injured his soul. He had to recondense his body so that the spiritual deity defense treasure could be effective. However, when he recondensed his body, the power of the sea of blood was naturally weakened. Chaos! Lu Ming shouted, and his hands moved rapidly. Outside the sea of blood, in the sky, a huge chaos-flipping sky seal condensed. Its size was not smaller than the Sea of Blood. This was the chaos-flipping sky seal that Lu Ming had unleashed with all his strength. What a terrifying attack! Outside, many geniuses were pale when they saw the huge chaos-flipping sky seal in the sky. They felt that if such an attack landed on them, their souls would be scattered. Boom! The chaos-flipping sky seal pressed down on the Sea of Blood. Rumble! The Sea of Blood shook violently and rolled crazily, erupting a terrifying confrontation with the chaos-flipping sky seal. In the sky, there were continuous explosions. There's an exit. In the Sea of Blood, Lu Ming looked up, and his eyes lit up. The chaos-flipping sky seal collided with the Sea of Blood, and finally, a gap was created. Lu Ming used the wind thunder step, and with a step, his body turned into wind and thunder, and instantly rushed out of the gap, rushing out of the Sea of Blood. That guy rushed out. Some people exclaimed in shock. It should be known that it was not easy to rush out of young Master Blood Prison's Sea of Blood. Very few people could do it. Boom! At this time, the chaos-flipping sky seal, due to the continuous collision with the Sea of Blood, finally exhausted its energy and exploded. However, the Sea of Blood had also withered a lot. This was not because the chaos-flipping sky seal was not powerful, but mainly because Lu Ming's cultivation was too weak. The Sea of Blood contained the power of law. Also, the chaos-flipping sky seal was still at the 4th level, so its power was naturally limited. Even if you rush out of the Sea of Blood, you still have to die. The young master of the Blood Prison shouted coldly. Chapter 1627. In the previous battle, his true origin was about to be exhausted. However, he had used all his strength in the battle, but he was still suppressed by his opponent. However, he had gained new insights from the battle. He had a new understanding of the heaven and earth Tao. As long as he digested it, he would definitely make progress. Soon, he returned to the Phoenix Palace and entered the mountain and river diagram. He sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and began to comprehend. 2 days later, Lu Ming finished his cultivation. Fighting with an expert in a life-and-death battle, my progress is indeed fast. It's not something that cultivation alone can compare to. Lu Ming smiled. His primal chaos domain had improved again. Then let's continue. Lu Ming smiled and left the Phoenix Palace. He found a secluded place and changed into the black robe and Azura mask before heading out of the city. It's that Azura, he's here again. Lu Ming's arrival attracted many people's attention. After all, 2 days ago, the battle between Lu Ming and Prince Blood Prison had spread like wildfire. Fight. Lu Ming was still as domineering as before. He fixed his eyes on a young man and threw a punch at him. Judging from his aura, this young man should be at the same level as Prince Blood Prison. You're courting death. The young man shouted coldly and engaged in a fierce battle with Lu Ming. This time, Lu Ming was still at a disadvantage and exchanged more than 100 blows with the young man. Go to hell, kid. At this time, a crimson light rushed out of Darkwater City. It was Prince Blood Prison. He had heard the news and rushed out aggressively. I won't keep you company today. We'll fight again in 2 days. Lu Ming smiled and used the Gale Thunder steps. After a few flashes, he avoided Prince Blood Prison and rushed into Darkwater City. This guy is using us as whetstones. The young man who had fought with Lu Ming today said coldly. No one would feel comfortable being used as a whetstone by a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator. That guy's cultivation technique is strange. The secret skill he used is the secret skill of the WN clan, the 10,000 weapons art. However, the domain doesn't seem to be the 10,000 weapons domain. It's like the legendary chaotic domain. There's actually someone in the world who can cultivate the chaotic domain. How shocking. Furthermore, his spirit body seems to be related to the 9 dragons. Around the lake, some youths were discussing. These people were all geniuses from Emperor-ranked forces. Naturally, they had keen eyesight. Lu Ming's domain and spirit body couldn't be hidden from them. This is truly a great era. I never expected to meet someone who has cultivated the primal chaos domain in the 100-tribe battlefield. The primal chaos domain is one of the 10 strongest domains. In the future, when it is cultivated into a law, It will also be one of the 10 strongest laws. That's right. I've heard that there are people who have successfully cultivated other supreme laws as well. If we can see the clash of supreme laws, how exciting would that be? The prodigy who fought with Lu Ming today muttered to himself. After Lu Ming entered Darkwater City, he changed back into his disguise and headed for Phoenix Palace. Unexpectedly, just as he returned to Phoenix Palace, he bumped into Huang Ling, who was looking for him. Lu Ming, there's news of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's map and key, Huang Ling said. Oh, how is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he asked. There's indeed more than one copy of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's map and key. In different places, the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb have appeared and been obtained by different people. This matter has now spread like wildfire in Darkwater City, Huang Ling said. Do you know who obtained it? Lu Ming asked. I don't know, but I'm sure that many people are in Darkwater City. Huang Ling shook her head. It seems that everyone is waiting. Then we don't have to be anxious. There will definitely be someone who can't wait and take the lead, Lu Ming said. Huang Ling nodded and then discussed with Lu Ming before leaving. Lu Ming continued to enter the mountain river diagram and cultivated with all his might. In the following days, Lu Ming would challenge experts outside the city every 2 days. Among them, he fought with Prince of the Bloody Inferno the most. However, although Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, Prince of the Bloody Inferno could do anything to Lu Ming. In this way, a month passed in the blink of an eye. During this month, the name Azura had spread throughout Darkwater City and he had become a famous battle maniac in Darkwater City. Everyone knew that Lu Ming was using the geniuses as whetstones. On the other hand, the geniuses were using Lu Ming as a whetstone to force themselves to improve. In the past month, Lu Ming had made rapid progress and had reached the peak of the 9th layer martial dominator realm. Therefore, in the end, Lu Ming was no longer at a disadvantage when he challenged the geniuses. He was even able to fight them to a draw. There were too many geniuses in the 100-tribe battlefield and there was no lack of opponents. Therefore, Lu Ming was able to make rapid progress. If he was in the Tsangzhou state, he would not have made such rapid progress because there were not so many opponents. The collision between geniuses could promote one's progress, and Lu Ming's progress was especially obvious. On this day, Lu Ming was cultivating in the mountain river diagram. Suddenly, his heart skipped a beat. There seemed to be some movement outside. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and came out of the mountain river diagram. Caw. As soon as he came out of the mountain river diagram, a sharp cry came from high up in the sky, resounding and reverberating between heaven and earth. Lu Ming came out of the room and looked up at the sky. He saw that there were a few suns in the sky. No, they were not suns, but a few golden crows. Divine birds, 3-legged golden crows. It was a few 3-legged golden crows. 3-legged golden crows were known as divine birds of the sun. Like true dragons and phoenixes, they were extremely terrifying divine beasts. Yang Kuangtu's bloodline was the 3-legged golden crow. Several 3-legged golden crows were circling in the sky above Darkwater City. Their bodies were covered in golden flames and they shone brightly like a sun. What's going on? Why are those 3-legged golden crows circling in the sky? The disciples of Phoenix Palace were also alarmed. They appeared in the sky one by one and looked up at the sky. Huang Ling's figure appeared beside Lu Ming. Caw. Caw. A total of 4 3-legged golden crows let out bright cries. Then, they turned into 4 golden-robed youths and stood in 4 corners of Darkwater City. Everyone, I, the Crown Prince of the Golden Crow Tribe, have something to say to all of you. The 4 Golden Crow Tribe youths spoke at the same time. Their voices spread throughout Darkwater City. Caw. At this moment, an even louder cry of the Golden Crow resounded in the sky. Dazzling golden light filled the sky. Then, a figure that was 10,000 feet tall appeared in the sky. This was a young man. He wasn't corporeal, but was formed from true essence and the power of the laws. He wore a golden robe with a sun embroidered on it. He wore a golden crown on his head. He was handsome and cold, and he exuded a powerful majesty. Greetings, 10th Crown Prince. The 4 Golden Crow tribe youths greeted the 10,000 feet tall figure at the same time. It's the 10th crown prince of the Golden Crow tribe. This person is extremely terrifying. His physical body is equivalent to an inferior heaven spiritual body. Moreover, he has reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, the vessel of law's realm. Chapter 1628. Jar of the Precepts. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The jar of the precepts, as the name suggested, was the power of the precepts. When it entered the body, every muscle and even every cell would be filled with the power of the precepts. At this level, the physical strength of a person's body would skyrocket. His combat strength would also be terrifying. He was only half a step away from the saint realm. Huang Ling also had an inferior heaven spiritual body. She was a prodigy at the same level as the 10th prince. However, she was only a stage 2 half-saint. If she fought with the 10th prince, she would be easily defeated. In the 100-tribe battlefield, this kind of prodigy was the strongest. Prodigies who were even stronger would rarely come to the 100-tribe battlefield because there would be no training for them. The 10th Golden Crow prince looked around and said, "I'm sure everyone knows that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb is about to appear." Many people were shocked. The 10th prince's first sentence was about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Was he doing this because of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? Finally, someone can't help it. Lu Ming smiled faintly and glanced at Huang Ling. "I also know that some people have already obtained the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. It is in Darkwater City," the 10th prince continued. Many people's eyes lit up. They knew that the 10th prince was going to take the lead. However, the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb are divided into many parts. It is useless to obtain a single part. Only by gathering them together can we find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and obtain the treasures inside. Today, I will take the lead. I also have the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Those who have the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb can gather at the Golden Crow Hall tomorrow at noon. After all, these maps and keys are useless if they are not combined. They can only be scraps. In the end, the Golden Crow 10th prince added. Then, his enormous body disappeared. He disappeared from the sky. The 4 people from the Golden Crow clan also disappeared from the sky. How about it? Are we going to the Golden Crow Hall tomorrow? Huang Ling looked at Lu Ming. Of course. If we don't go, our maps and keys will be useless, Lu Ming said with a smile. At this moment, some people in Darkwater City were also looking at the 10th prince. The entire Darkwater City was discussing this matter. After a day of silence, Lu Ming and Huang Ling headed for the Golden Crow Hall at noon the next day. The Golden Crow Palace was also bought by the Golden Crows in Darkwater City as a temporary residence. It was very large and was not smaller than the Phoenix Palace. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived at the square in front of the Golden Crow Hall, they realized that it was already crowded. Many geniuses had gathered around the square. There were also many natives. Most of them didn't have the map or the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. They were only here to watch the show and see who had the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. There were dozens of golden-robed young men standing on the square. They were all members of the Golden Crow tribe. Among these people, there was a young man with a golden crown on his head. He sat on a chair and looked around with a dignified expression. He was the 10th prince of the Golden Crow tribe. Lu Ming and Huang Ling blended into the crowd and did not go out. Who has the map and key to the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb? Come out. The voice of the Golden Crow clan's 10th prince sounded. Bang! Bang! At that moment, a figure stepped into the air and landed on the square. It was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. He was tall and slender and was surrounded by lightning. His aura was intimidating. It's wild lightning Yi Dongfang from the Thunder God Sec. Someone exclaimed. This person is very powerful. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The lightning surrounding Yi Dongfang was formed by the law of lightning. Once he attacked, it was earth-shattering. Yi Dongfang is extremely terrifying. He is an expert who is not weaker than the 10th prince. Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Yi Dongfang, You have the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? The 10th prince's eyes shot out two beams of golden light as he stared at Yi Dongfang. That's right. Yi Dongfang's hand glowed and a jade talisman and key appeared in his hand. They were almost the same as the jade talisman and key that Lu Ming and Huang Ling had obtained. Take out your map and key, Yi Dongfang said. The 10th Golden Crow Prince smiled. With a wave of his hand, a jade talisman and a key appeared in his hand. Surprisingly, there were two jade talismans and two keys. You actually obtained two sets of maps and keys. Lightning energy shot out of Yi Dongfang's eyes. Many prodigies looked at the jade talismans and keys in the 10th prince and Yi Dongfang's hands with burning eyes. However, no one dared to do anything. Trying to get the 10th prince and Yi Dongfang's hands was no different from seeking death. 3 sets. It's obviously far from enough. Who else has the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? The Golden Crow 10th prince looked around again. Us. At this moment, 2 more figures stepped into the square. These 2 youths were undoubtedly extremely terrifying prodigies. Although they were not as strong as Yi Dongfang and the 10th prince, they were on the same level as Huang Ling, the Bloodjail prince, and Wn Tiancheng. A jade talisman and key appeared in their hands. After a while, another person stepped out and took out a jade talisman and key. After a while, another person walked out. There was no doubt that these people who had obtained the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's jade talisman and key were extremely terrifying. None of them were weaker than the Bloodjail prince and Wn Tiancheng. Including the one in the 10th prince's hand, there were 6 sets of jade talismans and keys to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The eyes of Yi Dongfang, the 10th prince, and the others lit up. If this continued, they might be able to gather the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Anyone else? The 10th prince's voice sounded again. Let's go out. Huang Ling sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. The 2 of them stepped out and landed on the square, immediately attracting everyone's attention. That's Huang Ling from the Phoenix Palace. Who is that kid? How can he stand with Fairy Huang Ling? I know. That kid came to Darkwater City with Huang Ling. He was assassinated by an assassin from the Thousand Slayer Manor as soon as he arrived, but that assassin was easily killed by him. He actually dared to kill an assassin from the Thousand Slayer Manor. How bold. Discussions broke out in the surroundings. The 10th prince glanced at Lu Ming and Huang Ling before skipping over Lu Ming and looking at Huang Ling. He said, Huang Ling, do you have the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? It's not with me. It should be with both of us. Huang Ling said as a key appeared in her hand. A jade talisman appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Chapter 1629. The 10th Golden Crow Prince, Yi Dongfang, and the others were surprised. They had not expected Lu Ming, a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator, to have a map. It was obviously a set with the key in Huang Ling's hand. However, given Huang Ling's strength, why didn't she take the map from Lu Ming? Wouldn't it be better to combine the map and the key? Why did she let them have the same map? Is he from the Phoenix Palace? The 10th Golden Crow Prince asked curiously. No. Huang Ling shook her head. Not from the Phoenix Palace? Many people's eyes lit up. A mere rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator is not qualified to have the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Give it to me. A cold voice sounded. A figure stepped out and a powerful aura shrouded Lu Ming. Prince Blood Prison. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Brat, give me the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. You don't deserve it. Prince Blood Prison said coldly, his eyes full of greed. Even with his strength, he did not have the key or the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. This made him jealous. None of the others were weaker than him, so he did not dare to touch them. However, Lu Ming was only a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator, so he did not take him seriously. The 10th Golden Crow Prince, Yi Dongfang, and the others looked on indifferently. They did not say anything, nor did they stop him. Having the map or the key meant that one was qualified to enter the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb with them. However, those who had the map or the key were all talented and powerful. Lu Ming was only a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator. How could he be qualified to go with them? I don't deserve it. Do you? Lu Ming sneered. I don't. Then I'll let you know whether I have it or not. Prince Blood Prison's eyes were cold. A bloody light gathered on his body and a powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming. Suddenly, the cry of a phoenix was heard. Huang Ling released a powerful aura and stood in front of Lu Ming. She stared at Prince Blood Prison and said coldly, Blood Prison, Lu Ming is with me. If you want to attack him, let's see if you can defeat me. Huang Ling, what are you doing? Do you really want to work with a 9th layer martial emperor? I'm afraid that when we enter the reincarnation monarch's tomb, this person will only drag you down. Give me the map and cooperate with me, that's the way to go. Young Master Blood Prison said, trying to persuade Huang Ling scram, or fight. Huang Ling scolded coldly. You, Prince Blood Prison was enraged, but he was wary of Huang Ling. Although Huang Ling was a genius at the same level as him, Huang Ling had the immortal heavenly phoenix body. Her life force was too strong. When she fought, she did not fear death. With her powerful life force, she could often exhaust her opponents to death. Among the prodigies of the same level, Huang Ling was undoubtedly extremely difficult to deal with. Damn it! Young Master Blood Prison roared in his heart. What was wrong with Huang Ling? Was there something wrong with her brain? She would rather cooperate with Lu Ming than with him. What was the difference between bringing along Lu Ming and bringing along a burden? Could this brat be Huang Ling's lover? Young Master Blood Prison had such a thought. Not only him, but many people around the square also had the same thought. Brat, with your cultivation, you won't be able to obtain any treasures even if you enter the reincarnation monarch's tomb. You'll only waste the map. Now, I'll give you a chance to sell the map to me. How about it? Young Master Blood Prison was still unwilling to give up. Scram. Lu Ming's answer was very simple. He only had one word. What did you say? Young Master Blood Prison's killing intent surged. He stared at Lu Ming viciously and said, Brat, don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have Huang Ling's support. You're just a piece of trash who only knows how to hide behind a woman. Let's see if you can keep the map of the reincarnation monarch's tomb. Having said that, young Master Blood Prison snorted coldly and stepped into the air, leaving the square. Among the crowd, 2 people looked at Lu Ming with fear. They were Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. The 2 of them had also come to Darkwater City. They knew Lu Ming's combat strength. Back then, Wn Tiancheng was killed by Lu Ming. Of course, they would not remind young Master Blood Prison of Lu Ming's combat strength. Wouldn't it be better for Lu Ming to make enemies? They could use others to deal with Lu Ming. Does anyone else have the map and key to the reincarnation monarch's tomb? The 10th Golden Crow Prince's voice sounded again. Around the square, everyone looked at each other. This time, no one stepped forward. Then, the 10th Golden Crow Prince asked a few more times, but no one stepped forward. Obviously, there was no one else. Everyone, we have 7 maps here. Let's take a look and see if everyone is here. What do you think? The 10th Golden Crow Prince suggested. Great, that's what I want. Yi Dongfang was the first to speak. Then, the others nodded. Let's activate the patterns of the maps and put them together, the 10th Golden Crow Prince said. Then, he waved his hand, and a golden light screen enveloped them so that the others around the square could not see them. Many sighed. They had wanted to peek at the maps, but it seemed like it was impossible. Within the golden light screen, the 10th Golden Crow Prince took out 2 jade talismans. He poured his energy into them, and the 2 jade talismans glowed. 2 maps appeared in the air. Then, Yi Dongfang also poured his ethereal force into the jade talisman, and another map appeared. The 3 pieces of the map were pieced together in the air to form a larger map, but it was obvious that it was incomplete. Then, the others also poured their ethereal force into the jade talismans, and the incomplete maps appeared. Lu Ming did the same. The jade talisman in his hand also appeared. There were a total of 7 maps pieced together. It's still incomplete. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's face darkened. Obviously, the 7 maps were pieced together to form a relatively large map. However, It was obvious that something was still missing. There was a missing piece in the middle and a corner on both sides. Judging from the size, there should be 3 missing pieces. There should be a total of 10 maps and 10 keys. It's indeed incomplete. The map doesn't indicate the specific location at all. It seems that the specific location will only be shown when all 10 maps are complete, Yi Dongfang said. Maybe the person who obtained the remaining maps and keys is not in Darkwater City, but in the other 3 cities, someone said. There were a total of 4 cities in the center of the 100-tribe battlefield, and a large number of prodigies had gathered there. The remaining maps were likely in the other cities. It's possible. I will send people to the other 3 cities to spread the news. During this period, it's best for us to stay in Darkwater City. Once the maps and keys are gathered, we will set off for the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, the 10th Golden Crow Prince said. The others nodded and put away the maps. Some of them glanced coldly at Lu Ming, and a strange light flashed in their eyes. However, after glancing at Huang Ling, they were all wary. The 10th Golden Crow Prince waved his hand, and the light screen disappeared. Chapter 1630. I have something to do. I'll take my leave, Yi Dongfang said and then left. Me too. Then, the others left as well. It seems that the map is not complete. Otherwise, they would not have left. That should be the case. They are waiting for the rest of the map and the key, the people around speculated. Lu Ming and Huang Ling also stepped into the air and left. Many people's gazes landed on Lu Ming. All of them had greedy looks on their faces. No one knew what they were up to. Soon, Lu Ming and Huang Ling returned to the Phoenix Palace. I must continue to improve my strength, Lu Ming thought to himself. With his current combat strength, together with Bubble and Ming Lian's second body, it was more than enough to deal with a prodigy like young Master Bloodjail. However, he was still lacking when facing prodigies like the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang. However, Lu Ming's current cultivation had reached the peak of LV9 Martial Royal Realm. It was too difficult for him to break through in a short time. This was because he would be able to comprehend the ultimate realm and enter stage 1 of the Sage-to-Be. Entering the Sage-to-Be from LV9 Martial Royal Realm was a difficult task. Lu Ming had 2 ways to improve his combat strength in a short time. The first was the chaotic flipping sky seal. The second was to improve his soul power. He felt that he could soon break through the chaotic flipping sky seal and enter stage 5. As for his soul power, as long as he refined the demon crystals, it would continue to improve. Although geniuses like young Master Blood Prison and Huang Ling had spiritual deity defensive treasures to protect their souls, the defensive power was relative. If one's soul power was strong enough, it could still break through the defense and cause great damage to the soul. If Lu Ming's soul power was comparable to that of a bright sage expert, or even a great sage expert, he would only need to shout and look at young Master Blood Prison. He would be able to break through young Master Blood Prison's spirit deity defensive treasure and destroy his soul. In the final analysis, Lu Ming's soul power was not strong enough. Now, his soul power was comparable to that of a stage 2 Sage-to-Be. When Lu Ming's soul power reached stage 3, even if his opponent had spiritual deity defensive treasures, it would still cause great damage. Therefore, Lu Ming decided not to challenge them for the time being. He would cultivate in peace in Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the ancient tree of enlightenment. His mind entered a state of emptiness as he comprehended the chaotic flipping sky seal. In Darkwater City, young Master Blood Prison sat in a hall of a palace. His face was cold. I must get a map or key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, young Master Blood Prison said coldly as he clenched his fists. Without the map or key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb, he didn't even have the right to participate. Only with a map or key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb would he have the right to participate. Young Master, do you have any plans? There were several other young men in the hall, all of whom were subordinates of young Master Blood Prison. Snatch. Young Master Blood Prison's eyes lit up. He said, that guy called Lu Ming is just a LV9 Martial Royal Realm cultivator. What right does he have to have a map? That map should belong to me. The others' faces changed. One of them said, "But young master, Lu Ming is hiding in Darkwater City. We can't attack him there. Moreover, he's in Phoenix Palace. Phoenix Spirit is in Phoenix Palace. How can we snatch it? I'll find a way to get help to deal with Phoenix Spirit. As long as Phoenix Spirit is lured away, Lu Ming will be easy to deal with. He's just a LV9 Martial Royal Realm cultivator. As long as we capture Lu Ming and quickly escape from Darkwater City, the Saint Realm experts in Darkwater City won't be able to do anything." Young Master Blood Prison said coldly. "Young Master, you're brilliant." The others quickly flattered him. "Well, during this period, you should pay attention to Phoenix Palace and Lu Ming's movements. I'll find a way to get help to lure Phoenix Spirit away. As long as we find someone to help, we can start," Young Master Blood Prison said. Lu Ming had no idea about Young Master Blood Prison's secret plan. He was wholeheartedly practicing the chaotic flipping sky seal. Lu Ming had already cultivated the primal chaos flipping sky seal to the peak of the 4th level. After this period of killing and tempering, it was on the verge of a breakthrough. Therefore, after Lu Ming cultivated wholeheartedly for 2 days, the primal chaos flipping sky seal naturally broke through and reached the 5th level. It was very difficult to cultivate the chaotic flipping sky seal. For example, Lu Ming did not spend too much time cultivating the wind thunder steps and the 13 accumulated strikes. However, he had only broken through to the 5th level after cultivating the chaotic flipping sky seal for so long. It was difficult to cultivate, but correspondingly, it was more powerful. Every time the chaotic flipping sky seal broke through a level, its power would soar, especially in the last 2 levels. In the mountain river diagram, Lu Ming stood on the top of a mountain. The chaotic domain was surging. In his palm, a chaotic flipping sky seal appeared and grew larger. Then, Lu Ming's palm shook and the chaotic flipping sky seal disappeared automatically. Then, in the other palm of Lu Ming, another chaotic flipping sky seal condensed. In the past, Lu Ming had to make gestures with both hands to condense the chaotic flipping sky seal. But now, he could condense the chaotic flipping sky seal without making gestures. In this way, it would be more convenient to fight. "Now, let's increase my soul power." Lu Ming smiled and sat down. He took out a piece of demon crystal and began to refine it. In the blink of an eye, another 5 days passed. After 5 days of continuous refining, Lu Ming's soul power also broke through. The strength of his soul power was equivalent to that of a stage 3 half-saint. "It's time to go out and see if there's any news," Lu Ming thought to himself. In the next moment, he came out of the mountain river diagram and sent a message to Huang Ling. Soon, Huang Ling found Lu Ming. "Huang Ling, how's it going? Has anyone who has the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb come?" Lu Ming asked. 3 days ago, an expert came. He has a map and a key. Now, he's short of 2. Huang Ling said. "Oh, looks like it'll be soon." Lu Ming smiled. "Lu Ming, the situation in Darkwater City is getting more and more complicated. Many experts from other cities have come. You have to be careful," Huang Ling reminded him. Lu Ming nodded. He had a hunch that there would be a storm before the opening of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Darkwater City would not be peaceful. At this time, a female disciple of the Phoenix Palace came and bowed to Huang Ling's Saintess. "Young Master Tianying of the Skybird Palace has sent someone here. He said that young Master Tianying has arranged a banquet at the Drunken Immortal restaurant and would like to invite Saintess for a chat." Young Master Tianying. Huang Ling frowned. "Saintess, are you going?" The people of the Skybird Palace also said that young Master Tianying has invited the Golden Crow's 10th prince. "You're the only one left," the female disciple of the Phoenix Palace said. Huang Ling pondered for a moment and said, "Go and tell them that I'll be there in a while." "Yes." Chapter 1631. Skybird Palace. Is it also an Emperor-level force? Lu Ming asked curiously. "That's right. It's a terrifying Emperor-level force. Skybird Palace is made up of flying beasts and divine beasts. They have many experts. As for Phoenix Palace, although we are humans, our bloodline and spiritual bodies are related to the Phoenix. Therefore, Phoenix Palace and Skybird Palace have a good relationship. Young Master Tianying is a peerless genius of Skybird Palace. He invited me to a banquet and I can't reject him. Lu Ming, you can walk around Phoenix Palace. I'm leaving. Huang Ling said. All right, go ahead. Lu Ming nodded. Huang Ling turned and left. Lu Ming walked around Phoenix Palace for a while to relax. He then returned to his room and planned to enter the mountain river diagram to continue cultivating. At that moment, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. There were people in his room. 3 young men looked at Lu Ming with sharp eyes. Swoosh. One of the young men moved and appeared at the door. After a while, an inscription talisman appeared. Endless inscriptions filled the air and formed a halo that shrouded the room. Everyone, you've entered the wrong room, Lu Ming said lightly. Nonsense. Lu Ming, hand over the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. You're not qualified to have it. One of the young men said coldly. The 3 young men exuded powerful auras. They were all stage 2 sage to be experts. However, they had superior earth spiritual bodies. Who sent you here? Tell me and get lost. Lu Ming said coldly. You're courting death. Since you're not handing it over, I'll take it myself. One of the young men said coldly and stepped forward. He grabbed at Lu Ming with his palm. His palm expanded rapidly and was filled with blood-red light. Boom. Lu Ming threw a punch. The young man's palm exploded and his body was sent flying. He crashed into the halo and shattered it. His body crashed through the wall and flew out. Then, Lu Ming turned around and threw another punch. The young man standing at the door was also sent flying by the same punch. How is this possible? The last young man was astounded. They were all in the second stage of the half-step saint realm and had comprehended the laws. However, they weren't a match for Lu Ming and were sent flying by Lu Ming's punches. Without a second thought, he shot up into the sky, broke through the room, and rushed out. Since you're here, don't leave, Lu Ming said coldly. His figure flickered as he chased after the young man. The young man was scared out of his wits and shouted, Young master, save me. Boom. Just as the other party's voice faded, Lu Ming had already appeared beside him. The flowing element gloves glowed, and with a punch, the other party was torn into pieces. Generally speaking, geniuses with superior earthly spiritual bodies were no match for Lu Ming unless they had reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm and had a body of laws. They would be easily crushed and killed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, the sound of something tearing through the air could be heard as a dozen figures charged toward Lu Ming. Their cold killing intent was not concealed at all. So many experts had actually come in. Kill. Lu Ming shouted. The divine sword art was activated through sound waves and rushed toward the experts. With Lu Ming's soul power that had reached the 3rd stage of the half-step saint realm, the divine sword art's power was amazing. The young men suddenly screamed and fell to the ground one after another, no longer breathing. Damn it, Lu Ming, you deserve to die. An angry roar sounded as a blood-red figure appeared in the air and charged toward Lu Ming. Young Master Blood Prison, it's really you, Lu Ming said coldly. The last person to appear was Young Master Blood Prison. At this moment, Young Master Blood Prison's body was filled with cold killing intent and his eyes were red. He was angry and heartbroken. Originally, he had thought that dealing with Lu Ming and a few second-stage half-step saints would be enough. He had brought a dozen experts to support them. However, he did not expect that 3 experts would be killed by Lu Ming in an instant. Even the other dozen experts were killed by Lu Ming's soul attack. These were all supreme talents, which made his heart bleed. He had to tear Lu Ming into pieces. Hoo-hoo! A blood-red flag appeared in his hand. The flag expanded rapidly and covered the sky. It turned into a sea of blood that shrouded Lu Ming and the entire courtyard. Who's there? The disciples of Phoenix Palace were alarmed. They rushed out of their courtyards and stood in the air. When they saw the sea of blood, their faces changed. The sea of blood was too terrifying. If an ordinary person was shrouded in it, they would die. It's Young Master Blood Prison. How dare he cause trouble in our Phoenix Palace? Go and report to the Saintess. The disciples of Phoenix Palace were in an uproar. The commotion was huge. Not only Phoenix Palace, but more than half of the city was alarmed. Figures rushed into the air and watched from afar. It's young Master Blood Prison. He actually attacked Phoenix Palace. He must be after the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb in Lu Ming's hands. But to be honest, that Lu Ming is not qualified to have a map. Isn't young Master Blood Prison afraid that Huang Ling will attack? He's probably using some other method to stop Huang Ling. Many people thought for a moment and guessed young Master Blood Prison's motive. Drunken Immortal Inn was some distance away from Phoenix Palace, but the commotion in Phoenix Palace still reached here. Damn it, it's young Master Blood Prison. Huang Ling rushed out of Drunken Immortal Inn and looked in the direction of Phoenix Palace with a gloomy face. Whoosh, whoosh. Two figures appeared beside Huang Ling. One was a young man in a black feathered robe, and the other was the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Huang Ling, let's continue drinking, the young man in the black feathered robe said indifferently. Young Master Tianying, I didn't expect you to join forces with young Master Blood Prison. You asked me out in advance so that young Master Blood Prison can take action. Huang Ling looked coldly at the young man in the black feathered robe. This person was young Master Tianying of Skybird Palace. Young Master Tianying chuckled and did not deny or admit it. But there was indeed an aura that locked onto Huang Ling. What is young Master Blood Prison doing? He actually caused such a huge commotion when dealing with a mere rank 9 Marshal Royal. Young Master Tianying snorted coldly in his heart. The 10th Golden Crow Prince looked indifferent. He did not know about this beforehand, and now that he knew, he would not care. Huang Ling, let's continue drinking. Young Master Tianying continued. All right, if you want to drink, I'll drink with you. Huang Ling suddenly smiled inexplicably and turned to return to Drunken Immortal Inn. This stunned young Master Tianying. He thought that Huang Ling would rush to Phoenix Palace to rescue them. He did not expect Huang Ling to return to Drunken Immortal Inn. It seems that Huang Ling and Lu Ming are not on good terms. Young Master Tianying laughed in his heart. Chapter 1632. In Phoenix Palace, young Master Blood Prison was frantically activating the blood flag. He was about to turn into a bloody light and merge with the blood sea. He wanted to refine Lu Ming. This move again. There was a cold smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. Then, he raised both his hands in the air. Boom. In the sky, a huge chaotic flipping sky seal appeared and pressed down on the blood sea like a mountain. Boom. The blood sea shook violently. A large amount of bloody energy was destroyed. The blood sea was constantly suppressed and shrunk. When Lu Ming had first fought with young Master Blood Prison, he had used the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his might, but he had only been able to create a small opening in the blood sea. Now that the chaotic flipping sky seal had broken through to the 5th level, its power had increased tremendously. Even if Lu Ming had not used all his strength, he could still suppress the blood sea and constantly destroy it. Swish. The blood sea shook. Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and rushed out of the blood sea. He stood in the sky. Azura, Lu Ming, you are Azura. Young Master Blood Prison shouted wildly and his voice spread far and wide. What? Azura? Lu Ming is Azura? That mysterious and powerful Azura is Lu Ming? It's possible. Don't forget that Azura's cultivation is also at LV9 Marshal Royal Realm, the same as Lu Ming. Many people were surprised by young Master Blood Prison's shout. Lu Ming was the mysterious Azura who had been challenging experts. Whoosh. Young Master Blood Prison put away the blood sea. The blood sea turned back into a flag and he held it in his hand. Lu Ming, since you are Azura, I have found the wrong person. Having said that, young Master Blood Prison wanted to retreat. He knew that if Lu Ming was Azura, he would not be able to defeat Lu Ming. Ho ho, you have come today. Just like your men, stay here forever, Lu Ming said coldly as he took a step forward. At the same time, light spots appeared on his body. 12 sacred weapons were suspended around him. Swish. Lu Ming grasped the black dragon spear and thrust it at young Noble Blood Prison. You want to kill me? You! Young Master Blood Prison roared and waved the blood flag. Bloodlight filled the sky as he fought with Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them exchanged a few moves in a row, and their energy was rampant. Lu Ming, even if you use your ultimate move, you'll only be on par with me. You want to kill me? Dream on. Young noble blood prison roared. Kill. Lu Ming suddenly shouted, and the divine sword secret art burst out. Two jet black sword lights burst out from his eyes and rushed into Prince Blood Prison's body. Soul attacks are useless against me. I have the spiritual deity's defense. Ah. Sir Blood Prison stopped mid-sentence and let out a pained howl. He felt waves of tearing pain coming from his soul. How can your soul be so powerful? Young noble Blood Prison roared. Lu Ming sneered and stepped into the void. A chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in his hand and he threw it at Prince Blood Prison. Boom. This chaotic flipping sky seal had about 60% of its full power, and its power was amazing. Prince Blood Prison waved the blood flag and attacked the chaotic flipping sky seal. However, Prince Blood Prison was hit by Lu Ming's divine sword secret art. His soul was in pain, and his strength was somewhat reduced. After a violent collision, Prince Blood Prison retreated continuously. Buzz. Another chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in Lu Ming's hand and suppressed Prince Blood Prison. When Lu Ming threw out the chaotic flipping sky seal, his palms emitted a terrifying fluctuation. One could see that a chaotic flipping sky seal had appeared in each of Lu Ming's palms. Two chaotic flipping sky seals appeared at once. One after another, they pressed down on young Master Blood Prison. At the same time, Lu Ming also used the divine sword secret art to attack Prince Blood Prison. Boom, boom, boom. Prince Blood Prison used all his strength to resist, but after blocking 5 or 6 chaotic flipping sky seals, the bloodlight on his body kept trembling. His face was as pale as paper, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Under the continuous attacks of the chaotic flipping sky seal and the divine sword secret art, Prince Blood Prison was seriously injured. Before the breakthrough of his soul power and the chaotic flipping sky seal, Lu Ming's main body could only fight Prince Blood Prison to a draw, even if he used all his strength. But now, he could completely suppress Prince Blood Prison. Go. Prince Blood Prison was scared. After blasting away a chaotic flipping sky seal, he wanted to escape. However, an even larger flipping sky seal formed and suppressed him. At the same time, Lu Ming's glabella shone. His second body stepped out, and the Tai Chi disc array appeared. A Tai Chi pattern appeared and suppressed Prince Blood Prison. You! How is this possible? Prince Blood Prison's pupils contracted sharply, and he struggled to resist. However, under the joint attack of the second body and the main body, he was powerless to resist. Boom! Under the joint attack of the Tai Chi pattern and the chaotic flipping sky seal, his body exploded and turned into a ball of bloodlight. Then, the bloodlight wriggled and reformed into Prince Blood Prison's body. However, his current aura was much more dispirited than before. He was extremely weak. Buzz. Above the second body's head, the Tai Chi pattern shone and turned into 2 yin-yang fish swords, slashing at Prince Blood Prison. Prince Blood Prison was terrified, and he frantically waved the blood flag to resist. The yin-yang fish swords turned into 2 sword lights, one black and one white. They cut through the void and slashed at the blood flag. The blood light of the blood flag was directly broken. The yin-yang fish swords slashed through the blood flag, and the power of the blood flag was almost destroyed. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. This time, he performed the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his strength. A huge chaotic flipping sky seal formed to kill Prince Blood Prison. No, no, Prince Blood Prison screamed in horror. He was already severely injured, and his aura was weak. Now that the blood flag was destroyed, and Lu Ming performed the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his strength, he had a feeling that he would be killed by this move. Lu Ming, you can't kill me. This is Darkwater City. You can't fight here. Senior, help me. Young Master Blood Prison roared like a madman, trying to get the local Saint Realm powerhouses of Darkwater City to intervene. Before he attacked, he was afraid that the local Saint Realm experts would intervene. Now, he desperately hoped that the local Saint Realm experts would intervene. Unfortunately, He was disappointed. There was no movement at all. The local Saint Realm experts didn't seem to have any intention of intervening. This surprised many people around. In the past, if there was such a big commotion, the local Saint Realm experts would have intervened. But today, there was no movement at all. Die. Lu Ming said coldly. He raised his hands, and the chaotic flipping sky seal exuded a terrifying aura, suppressing Prince Blood Prison. Whoosh. At this moment, a terrifying sword light pierced through the void behind Lu Ming. It crossed a long distance in an instant and stabbed at Lu Ming's back. Chapter 1633. An assassin from Thousand Killers Manor. A thought appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Moreover, this was an extremely terrifying assassin. He was 10 times more terrifying than any of the Thousand Killers Manor's assassins that Lu Ming had encountered before. This was definitely a sky pride on the same level as young Master Blood Prison and WN Tiancheng. Moreover, he was an assassin. Any other genius on the same level as young Master Blood Prison would be dead for sure. There was no suspense in the fact that they would be killed by this sword. However, Lu Ming wasn't just any ordinary person. During this period of time, no matter where he was, he had always been on guard against Thousand Killers Manor's assassins. It was the same even in the middle of a war. Therefore, the moment the Thousand Killers Manor's assassin attacked, he sensed it. He didn't let Bubble take action because he was on guard against Thousand Killers Manor's assassins. Therefore, when the sword light pierced Lu Ming's body shattered like glass, and Lu Ming's body appeared more than 10 meters away. At the crucial moment, Bubble took action and used the space-time domain to teleport Lu Ming more than 10 meters away while the primal chaos flipping sky seal continued to suppress him. Boom! The primal chaos flipping sky seal struck young Master Blood Prison's body. His body instantly exploded and turned into a ball of bloody light. The bloody light wriggled, trying to escape, but the terrifying power of the primal chaos flipping sky seal was constantly destroying young Master Blood Prison. No, young Master Blood Prison let out an unwilling scream. Then, the ball of bloody light was completely obliterated and disappeared from the world. Young Master Blood Prison was dead. Whoosh. At this moment, another sword gleam pierced toward Lu Ming. Its speed was astonishingly fast and its power was shocking. However, Lu Ming was already on guard. Boom. Lu Ming punched out, bombarding the sword light. The sword light shook and a black-clothed man appeared. He borrowed the power of Lu Ming's punch to retreat rapidly. The second attack was blocked by Lu Ming. The assassin knew that the assassination had failed and wanted to retreat. Stay here. Lu Ming kicked the black dragon spear. The black dragon spear turned into a black lightning and shot towards the opponent. But Lu Ming used the wind thunder steps and took a step forward. He grabbed a nearby battle sword and slashed out. A 10,000-meter-long sword ray slashed towards the black-clothed man. Whoosh, whoosh. The speed of the black-robed man was extremely fast. His figure constantly flashed, leaving behind a series of after-images. First, he avoided the attack of the black dragon spear. Then, he slashed out a sword light, which collided with Lu Ming's sword light. However, at this moment, a transparent bubble suddenly appeared around the black-clothed man's body, enveloping him within. His body immediately stiffened. The second body controlled the yin-yang fish sword and slashed at the opponent. The black-clothed assassin's figure suddenly blurred. Then, a shocking sword light burst out and broke the transparent bubble. He wanted to escape, but he was still a step too late. The yin-yang fish sword's black sword slashed his body, almost cutting him in half. Blood splattered in the sky. The black-clothed assassin roared angrily. His body was shrouded in a layer of black fog. His speed suddenly increased and in a few flashes, he disappeared into the void. The Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassin's movement technique was too powerful. After failing to assassinate, he wanted to escape. Even Lu Ming could not stop him. All of this seemed to take a long time, but in fact, it happened in an instant. At this moment, many of the onlookers reacted and gasped. The Blood Prison Prince is dead. God, the Blood Prison Prince was killed by Lu Ming. He died at the hands of a rank 9 Marshal Royal. Unbelievable. Lu Ming is Azura. He has become stronger again. Also, what is that body? Could it be a clone? But it doesn't look like it. Even the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassin was injured and retreated. It's too terrifying. The scene was noisy. Many people were discussing excitedly and were shocked. They were shocked by Lu Ming's strength and Lu Ming's methods. In the drunken Immortal Inn, Prince Tianying could no longer remain calm. He stood in the sky and looked into the distance. At this moment, his face was extremely gloomy. That blood prison is courting death. Huang Ling held a wine cup and walked to Prince Tianying's side. You already knew about Lu Ming's strength. Prince Tianying gritted his teeth. Haha, what do you think? Huang Ling smiled. Prince Tianying's face was as black as charcoal. Obviously, Huang Ling knew that the blood prison prince was no match for Lu Ming. Hence, she acted very indifferent. Humph. Prince Tianying snorted coldly. He waved his sleeves and left. This Lu Ming is a top figure, the 10th Golden Crow Prince said calmly with his hands behind his back. He then left as well. Lu Ming, it seems like you have become stronger again, Huang Ling whispered. Her figure moved and she flew toward Phoenix Palace. Soon, Huang Ling returned to Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming, are you all right? Huang Ling asked. I'm fine. Lu Ming shook his head. Huang Ling, it seems like there's a traitor in your Phoenix Palace. Previously, the Blood Prison Prince's men had been able to enter his room silently. This was definitely because someone from Phoenix Palace had received them. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. I will investigate this matter. Huang Ling's voice turned cold. Her icy gaze swept across the surrounding Phoenix Palace disciples. The expressions of the Phoenix Palace disciples changed drastically. Lu Ming, don't you think it's strange that the native Saint Realm experts of Darkwater City did not make a move this time? Huang Ling asked again. Indeed. Lu Ming nodded. He also felt that this was a little strange. The two discussed for a while but could not come to a conclusion. They could only guess that the native Saint Realm experts were not around. However, they had heard that there was more than one Saint Realm expert in Darkwater City. It could not be that all of them were not around. Since they could not figure it out, they did not think too much about it. Huang Ling arranged another residence for Lu Ming and Lu Ming moved in. The surrounding crowd also dispersed. The news of this battle quickly spread throughout Darkwater City. This battle had greatly increased Lu Ming's reputation. In many people's eyes, Lu Ming was more terrifying than Huang Ling since he was able to kill a genius like the Blood Prison Prince. They finally knew why Huang Ling and Lu Ming had the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. It was because Lu Ming had the strength to do so. The crowd no longer dared to underestimate Lu Ming, who was a rank 9 Marshal Royal. Of course, there was another matter that had a great impact. That was why the native Saint Realm experts did not make a move. This matter was very strange and there were many different opinions. However, over the next few days, this topic became a hot topic. This was because there had been a few more battles in Darkwater City over the past few days. However, the native Saint Realm experts did not make a move. Many people guessed that the native Saint Realm experts did not care. In other words, they could make a move as they wished in the city. Chapter 1634. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed since Lu Ming killed the Bloodhell Prince. In these 7 days, someone finally stepped into Darkwater City with the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and the key. Only the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb were left. At this time, the atmosphere in Darkwater City became more solemn. This was because the geniuses of the other 3 cities had also heard about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and stepped into Darkwater City. Boom! On the 7th night, there was a shocking sound in Darkwater City. Someone was fighting. Figures rushed into the sky and looked into the distance. Lu Ming also rushed into the sky and watched from afar. Whoosh! Then, Lu Ming saw a young man rush into the sky, trying to escape. It's him. Lu Ming's heart stirred as he recognized this young man. This person was the genius who had the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. He was also a heavenly spiritual body expert who had comprehended the laws. Boom! A large yellow hand suddenly formed and grabbed at the young man. The young man used all his strength to break the hand. In the end, the large yellow hand broke, but the young man vomited blood and was severely injured. Give me the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and I'll spare your life. A young man in a yellow robe appeared in the sky. His vast aura suppressed the surroundings. Jar of laws. Lu Ming could tell that this young man was a half-saint who had comprehended the laws. He was also a heavenly spiritual body, an expert on the same level as the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang. Don't even think about it. The young man roared and tried to break out. The young man in the yellow robe's eyes turned cold. With a wave of his hand, huge stone swords appeared in the sky and slashed at the young man. The difference between the second stage and the third stage of the half-saint realm was huge. The young man was no match for him. In a few moves, a stone sword pierced through his body and almost killed the spiritual deity. Don't kill me. I'll give you the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. In the end, the young man was afraid and handed over the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The young man in the yellow robe took the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and harumphed coldly. He then stepped into the air and disappeared from Darkwater City. The young man in the yellow robe was unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. In this battle, the native Saint Realm powerhouses still hadn't made a move. Darkwater City is going to be in chaos. Many people sighed. The prodigies of the other three cities all came to Darkwater City, and the local Saint Realm experts of Darkwater City did not interfere. Everyone knew that Darkwater City was going to be in chaos. Everybody wanted to enter the Reincarnation Great Emperor's tomb. Everybody wanted the map of the Reincarnation Great Emperor's tomb. Everybody wanted the map and the key of the Reincarnation Great Emperor's tomb. For a time, Darkwater City was filled with undercurrents. Lu Ming and Huang Ling were also somewhat grave. Their residences were very close to each other. Moreover, the two of them had been in seclusion and had not gone anywhere. They were afraid that once the two of them separated, they would be attacked and robbed of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb's map and key. On the second night, as expected, another great battle took place. A prodigy who had the map key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb wanted to leave Darkwater City under the cover of the night. He wanted to hide in the dark and only come out when all the keys were gathered. However, as soon as he left Darkwater City, he was surrounded by three other prodigies. In the end, he was severely injured and had no choice but to hand over the map and key. As a result, the atmosphere in Darkwater City became even more solemn. Other than the Golden Crow's 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang, they were not afraid of the other prodigies who had the map key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb. Their goal was to increase their strength. Otherwise, they would have nothing left if the map key was taken away. A few days later, the last set of map keys still had not appeared. On this day, two figures arrived at the Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming and Huang Ling appeared together. Zhao Kuang, Sima Liang, it's you two? What business do you have with my Phoenix Palace? Huang Ling asked. The two of them were Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. Huang Ling, Lu Ming, the two of us are here to form an alliance. Zhao Kuang said. Darkwater City is currently filled with experts and prodigies. The stronger we are, the weaker we are. Why don't we form an alliance and head to the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb together? Sima Liang said. Oh, form an alliance. Do you have the map and key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb with you? Lu Ming asked. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were startled and said, of course not. Since you don't have it, why are you forming an alliance with us? Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hand casually and said. The two of them had come up with a good idea. They had nothing and wanted to gain something without risking anything. How could it be that easy? Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang's faces darkened. Lu Ming, the other prodigies in Darkwater City who have the map and key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb are all looking for experts to form an alliance with to increase their strength. The two of us formed an alliance with you because we think highly of you. How dare you be so arrogant? Lu Ming, don't think that you can be lawless and look down on others just because you killed Wn Tiancheng and young Master Bloodjail. If 2 or even 3 people like young Master Bloodjail join forces, Are you still their match? Sima Liang gritted his teeth and said. Lu Ming has already asked you to get lost. Why are you still here? Huang Ling reprimanded. Good, very good. Then I'll just watch as your map and key are taken away by others. Zhao Kuang flew into a rage. He left behind a few words unhappily and left with Sima Liang. Lu Ming and Huang Ling exchanged glances with each other. Both of them had a serious look in their eyes. Then, they returned to their rooms and started cultivating. However, it was too difficult for Lu Ming's main body to increase his strength in a short period of time. It was almost impossible for him to reach the 6th level of the primal chaos flipping sky seal in a short period of time. It was the same for his cultivation. Therefore, Lu Ming kept refining the demon fiend crystals to increase his soul power. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days had passed. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart moved and a trace of joy appeared on his face. Then, he entered the mountain river diagram. Ming Lian's second body sat cross-legged on a mountain peak. The Taiji disc floated above his head, sprinkling down rays of light. A golden spiritual flame flickered between the second body's eyebrows. Suddenly, the spiritual flame surged and several spiritual rings appeared around the second body. On the 9th golden spiritual ring, there were 10 light spots. This meant that Ming Lian's second body had finally ignited the 10th spiritual lamp and reached perfection. This realm was equivalent to the first stage of the half-step saint realm. The next step was to comprehend the laws. Great! Lu Ming was overjoyed. The improvement of his second body would undoubtedly increase his combat strength. It would be of great help to him at this crucial moment. Then, the spiritual rings disappeared and the second body started to consolidate its cultivation. Lu Ming's main body left the mountain river diagram and continued refining the demon fiend crystals. But not long after, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes and rushed out of the courtyard. Chapter 1635. Boom, 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 boom. A total of 4 terrifying auras shot up like smoke signals toward Phoenix Palace. Then, 4 figures stepped into the air. Every step they took caused the sky to rumble. A huge pressure pressed down on Phoenix Palace. A figure flashed and Huang Ling appeared beside Lu Ming. Then, the other disciples of Phoenix Palace rushed out. They are finally here. Huang Ling whispered with a serious expression. The sky prides from the other cities were finally going to attack them. 4 of them came at once. These 4 people were definitely terrifying sky prides. Each of them was at the same level as Prince Blood Prison and WN Tiancheng. Without such combat strength, they would not dare to attack Lu Ming and Huang Ling. The 4 youths, 3 men and 1 woman, stood in a row in front of Huang Ling and Lu Ming. At this moment, the entire Dark Water City was alarmed. Countless people rose into the air and looked over. How terrifying. The 4 experts are going to attack Lu Ming and Huang Ling. It's only a matter of time. The other Sky Prides are looking for experts to form an alliance. Lu Ming and Huang Ling are only 2 people. Naturally, they will be targeted. 4 against 2. Lu Ming and Huang Ling are most likely in danger. They won't be able to keep the map and key. Voices echoed between the heavens and earth. Not far from Phoenix Palace, Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were also watching. Humph, Lu Ming, aren't you very arrogant? This time, let's see how you can keep the map and key, Zhao Kuang sneered. It would be best if Lu Ming and Huang Ling were killed, Sima Liang said with a vicious face. Huang Ling, Lu Ming, hand over the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, a youth said in a very straightforward manner. If you want the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, let's see if you have the ability to do so, Huang Ling said coldly. Huang Ling, although the vitality of your immortal heavenly phoenix body is strong, you don't stand a chance against the 2 of us. Lu Ming, I know that you killed young Master Blood Prison some time ago. However, if we join forces, are you still a match for us? I advise you not to make a mistake, a young man said coldly. Let's see if I'm a match for you. Lu Ming spoke in a domineering tone. Stubborn. Since that's the case, let's attack. A young man shouted and stepped forward to attack Huang Ling. At the same time, the only woman among the four also charged towards Huang Ling. The remaining two charged towards Lu Ming. 2 against 1. A phoenix cry rang out as the shadow of an immortal heavenly phoenix rushed out from Huang Ling's body. A pair of phoenix wings extended from her back as she bathed in immortal flames. The phoenix wings flapped out, and like two divine swords, they slashed at the opponent and began a great battle. However, as soon as they exchanged blows, Huang Ling was at a disadvantage. Neither of the two opponents was weaker than her. She could only rely on her immortal heavenly phoenix physique to hold on. As for Lu Ming, he was also engaged in a fierce battle with his opponent. A huge cauldron came crashing down on Lu Ming. At the same time, there was a terrifying flaming sword chi. When the two terrifying geniuses joined forces, their power was too strong. Lu Ming's glabella shone as Ming Lian's second body stepped out. A Tai Chi array floated above his head as a Tai Chi array appeared and pressed down on the young man who had slashed out the flaming sword chi. Boom! The flaming sword chi was dispersed. Ming Lian's second body waved his hand and a phoenix cry rang out as the phoenix feather flying swords flew out. This time, there were a total of 21 phoenix feather flying swords that formed a sword array. They turned into terrifying sword chi and charged towards the opponent. Back in the Tianfeng Plains, Lu Ming had obtained more than a dozen phoenix feathers. During this period of time, Ming Lian's second body had refined all of them into phoenix feather flying swords. A total of 21 phoenix feather flying swords formed a sword array that was extremely powerful. Divine Sword of the Great Sun. The opponent held a flaming sword and slashed out sword chi that was like the Great Sun. It slashed towards the second body and began a fierce battle with the second body. As for Lu Ming's main body, light spots lit up all over his body. He cast the 10,000 weapons art and sacred weapons appeared one by one. He held a spear in one hand and a sword in the other. He blasted the cauldron and sent it flying. 9 cauldrons suppressed the heavens. The person fighting Lu Ming was a black-robed youth. He had long hair and a mysterious aura. 9 cauldrons floated around him. Lu Ming could not help but think of the divine 9-dragon cauldron. The divine 9-dragon cauldron also had 9 cauldrons that suppressed the dragon vein. The black-robed youth controlled the 9 cauldrons to suppress Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted as he used the divine sword art to attack his opponent. The black-robed youth's body trembled and his attacks slowed down. Lu Ming threw out the spear and sword in his hand. At the same time, he controlled the other sacred weapons to clash with the 9 cauldrons. Clang! Clang! The 9 cauldrons were without a doubt sacred weapons. The 9 cauldrons worked together and their power was even more shocking. In the sky above Phoenix Palace, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. It was like a great bell. The other disciples of Phoenix Palace were unable to interfere at all. Ordinary prodigies would be injured or even killed by the overflowing force the moment they got close to it. Primal chaos, Lu Ming muttered. A primal chaos flipping sky seal appeared in each of his palms and he threw it at his opponent. The primal chaos flipping sky seal was as big as a mountain. It pressed down as if it wanted to crush everything. The black-robed youth's pupils contracted rapidly. He gathered a few cauldrons and attacked. Boom! Boom! 2 dull explosions sounded. The opponent's cauldrons were sent flying and the black-robed youth was forced to retreat. At that moment, a pagoda appeared above Lu Ming's head. Bubbles was inside it. Bubbles, help the second body. Lu Ming's voice rang out. The pagoda flew toward the second body. Kill! Lu Ming roared as he used the divine sword art. 2 more flipping sky seals appeared in his palms and suppressed his opponent. The black-robed youth roared as his body emitted a strange light. The 9 cauldrons vibrated and knocked away many of Lu Ming's sacred weapons. The black-robed youth then fought against the flipping sky seals. Between the two of them, it was purely a battle of strength. There was no technique involved. The flipping sky seal and the 9 cauldrons collided continuously. They were like mountains, bombarding each other in the air. The entire dark water city was shaking. Many of the weaker cultivators were forced to retreat. The sound waves from the collision were too strong. However, Lu Ming used the divine sword art. The black-robed youth was slowly losing to Lu Ming. He was suppressed by Lu Ming and had to retreat after every collision. After more than 10 moves, the black-robed youth had retreated more than 10 miles. 9 seals of the divine gate. Lu Ming suddenly formed a seal with his hands. 9 doors of the divine gate appeared in the sky. They shone brightly and were aimed at the opponent's cauldrons. Lu Ming had cultivated the 9 seals of the divine gate to the peak. He could form 9 doors of the divine gate at once. When the 9 doors of the divine gate were connected, the power of the seal was greatly enhanced. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.